Hello, hello, everybody.
It's much better. Ah, okay.
Good afternoon.
So,
Can
it's
everybody hear well here? Is it clear? First of all, I hope you're all doing well and you're having a great time during the event. I would like to start with a question. I have a device on my hand. Has anybody tried something like this? All right. So today is going to be about spatial computing. And so spatial computing is something that can be played in something like this, which is mixed reality, but it can also be played on something like virtual reality, which is totally immersive. And we're going to talk here. We have some panelists from all over the world. Mo here coming from Saudi all the way to Rio. Thanks so much for doing it. And Derek, who is coming from Sao Paulo, who I've had a pleasure to be in a journey with, also as an investor in our company. And we also have Simone here that was really hard to get, but Derek and I, we call her many times, and finally she said, I'm gonna do it. And Pico, she flew all the way from London here, and they will be telling a bit more about what they are doing in their lives. But I wanted to start with one point. Spatial computing. In order to scale this, in order for everybody to be using such technology, we have two major barriers. The first barrier is the hardware. And right now, Apple has tried to break this barrier with a hardware that costs around $3,800. We have Meta on the other side really putting a lot of effort to make it more affordable, and several other brands going there. And on the other side, we have the infrastructure to build the content, right? The infrastructure to build the content is, we have some legacy infrastructure such as Unity or Unreal, which are game engines. And we also have like infrastructure such as Godot, which is an open source game engine. And what the challenge there is that it's really expensive to also build this content, right? So it's not just like only expensive to buy and to assess and to have something good, but it's also super expensive to build. So in order for us to scale this technology, we have to break those two barriers, right? The first barrier, I will leave it up to Apple and Meta to break. The second barrier, we are working very hard to do at Anitya. And so having said that, I would like to start asking Simone, because Simone, you are an expert on this whole virtual immersive reality, but you started your journey not with the visual aspect of immersiveness. You started your journey with audio, immersive audio. How was that? What is that? And tell us about your journey and how this did reflect in a way that you're now an expert in the whole Brazil and South America and the world.
First of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here with you. Thank you for joining us. Yes, Pedro, you're right. When I entered this market 8 years ago, audio was my motivation as a voiceover artist and a tech enthusiastic. I want to tell stories that are more immersive and interactive, and audio is very important in this context. Let's do a quick exercise, please. Everybody, close your eyes. Just for a moment. What sounds can you hear? How far away are them from you? Where are they located? Okay, please open your eyes. It's amazing how much information we get about our space around us just through the audio. And in an immersive experience, if you don't have the spatial audio right, you don't have an immersion. If you don't hear what you see, you don't have an immersion. So it's audio-visual. Audio is very important. That's my point. When we're talking about spatial computing, we have to talk about spatial audio.
That's really interesting. And just about Brazil and South America, we are like, there's so many gamers here and there's so much talent in this continent. What are the major opportunities, the major challenges that you see?
Yeah, you talk a lot about that. You know, we are living in a great moment with Apple bringing the term of spatial computing to the general public. Okay, but we are facing big challenges in terms of cost, infrastructure, bureaucracy, infrastructure, and everything, like you said. So, especially in emerging markets like Latin America, we're talking about Apple Vision Pro, Meta Quest 3, but not only these devices are very hard to find and expensive here, the 5G technology that drives them is still not a reality in Brazil. We're talking about that. So we are seeing a lot of talents leaving the country seeking for another opportunities. But talking about opportunities, we have plenty here in Brazil. Our Extended Reality Brazilian Association, XRBR, that we founded 5 years ago, which brings together nearly 100 members that have been working with spatial computing for a lot of years across industries. We are working with this technology, we know. And we are winning prizes such as Primetime Emmy. We are going to Congress all over the world. We have talent here. And we are about to approve a big law, a federal law for games, but that will impact us also with less bureaucracy, greater opportunities, and less taxes. So this is a bright future, I expect, but we need more funding, public and private. And I just want to highlight the work that few Cariocas members of XRBR are doing, like 2050, that creates an XR lab inside the community, inside the favela, Moco Santo Amaro, another XR. Who is from XRBR? Raise your hands. Okay. After the panel, they are going to be here to talk to you more, and
Amazing.
it's okay.
Thanks so much, Simone.
Thank you.
Mo,
Yes.
you are coming from South Arabia. This is for us in Brazil very far. But somehow I had a pleasure of going there, and you are now here. We are somehow also very close in many cultural ways. So I wanted to ask you, what is the perspective of Saudi Arabia in this technology? And just to highlight that Saudi Arabia has done the biggest investments over the last years into this kind of technology, such as gaming, and has great ambitions in this space. So what is that perspective for you?
Well, thanks, first of all, for having me. And this is my first time in Latin America, and it's really amazing, and I loved it so far. And so in Saudi Arabia, I come from the Gaming and Immersive Technology Institute at King Abdulaziz City of Science and Technology, which is the national labs of the kingdom. We view the spatial computing as a driving force for, especially in supporting users' interaction with the digital environment. And now the Gaming and Immersive Technology Institute, it's one of many, more than 30 institutes in CACS that they focus on different domains, including health, energy, sustainability, and future economies, which includes emerging tech, space exploration, deep sea, as well as the smart cities. Now, that gives us an advantage to explore all the different projects and be able to see the challenges that are available on the different domains, which will give us an opportunity to propose solutions using the spatial computing and support the development of such technology across the different domains. Now, in Saudi Arabia, there is a $38 billion investments in the gaming sector. And this is part of the national gaming and esports strategy. This actually is, the vision is to have the Saudi to be the center of the game. And you're doing that through the development of that full value chain for gaming and esports. And I think this is one of the aspects that we are interested in, and we are leading one of the initiatives in establishing a joint center of excellence for R&D activities in the gaming and esports. So I think that CAX is a great place for such initiatives because it's not just only focusing on R&D, but also it will support the commercialization of such technologies to business. We collaborate with many other entities, including Animoca brands. Recently, we signed a collaboration with them to push the frontier for the Web3 for gaming and immersive experiences.
Really interesting. We will talk about Web3 also in a bit. That's really interesting. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, actually, it's just a great. There are many other opportunities in the country, and I'm coming from the perspective of CAX and the advantages of being there.
And it's not only that Saudi Arabia has opportunities. They have a very organized online system for you to find those opportunities to read it, and you also have everything in English. I was there, and we were so impressed. The government has one stand where you can go through all the ministries of the government. They're all connecting you over WhatsApp, making things happen. I was very, very positively impressed with that. Pico, one question for you. You are a global citizen, although you're also South American, but you have this very global perspective on immersive experiences, and you have a very interesting portfolio of projects. What is happening out there in the world? Can you tell us a bit?
Can you guys hear? Okay, yes. Well, thank you so much for having me as well, Pedro. It's fantastic, and we already knew each other, so it's very crazy to be here in Rio with you guys. So I think that the first topic to start with, because we did have like an incredible uprising of what we believed was going to be the metaverse, this all-encompassing virtual experience that was going to fully integrate physical and digital into a single place. But it didn't live up for a lot of reasons. I think visual fidelity, being real time, and the decentralization of it just wasn't mature to the degree that we expected it to be, both as users, technologists, for an adoption to the size that we actually expected. So this vision collapsed, or at least the word is not used anymore. We speak of metaverse, but it's kind of segmented in a lot of different verticals that are converging or diverging in a lot of different ways. And I think what's interesting to think is that when big visions momentarily pause, is the opportunity for a lot of these independent segments to rise through whatever is already market adoptable. So we're already seeing this in video games, for example. Like you mentioned, healthcare is another big one. Education is another really interesting one, especially when it comes to like AR and VR, just because of the depth and the interactivity that it comes with spatial intuition and spatial integration. But I think smart cities, and when it comes to digital twins and everything that has to do with planning out the future of our physical environments, is also like a very strong perspective that is going to be driving spatial computing forward in different ways. So we're seeing this across the globe. Each country has different like predominance of the industries that they're leading, also depending on the market adoption. Like I said, that also has to do with the democratizing and the inclusion that these technologies are approached in different parts around the world. But essentially, I think what's very important to see is that although the bigger vision isn't already formed, all these smaller ones are starting to come together to create a new vision as a whole. So more specifically, what I'm doing at Jardim right now as an innovation director is working on what is experience twins. We call them digital experience twins, that every time have more layers converting into what we would hope to become the real digital twin. So a big part of it is being able to visualize spaces, whether it's an experience, a building, an entire city as a whole. Another part is being able to connect all the segments of infrastructure and layers of mobility, water, energy, like all the different layers that are happening, the dynamics that exist within each of these spaces. Then it's being able to analyze those, and then hopefully being able to predict them and create more optimized solutions for the future. So we're seeing this very interesting approach that we no longer live in like a completely segmented physical world versus virtual world through our screens, but every time more we're seeing like a more inclusive integration of these two in what we're calling like our hybrid or virtual physical integrated environments.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I share your vision in that, how we are progressing very much. So, Derek, you are a pioneer in Brazil for sure in betting on this kind of technology. You did an investment on Hadhrawi, which is a gaming studio that has been doing some amazing work, awarded internationally, and also in your participation in anitya. I wanted to ask, what is the future of this technology? What is to come there, and what is the relationship with this sort of immersive spatial computing and Web3 and crypto, as Mo already started to pencil out?
No, first of all, thank you. It's such an honor to be with all of you here. Thank you so much for coming down to Brazil.
Thanks for
Pico,
having me.
Mohammad.
Thank you.
As Pedro mentioned, my first institutional investment in, let's say, immersive opportunities was in Hadhrawi back in 2017. Back in 2017, would you have said it's too early, right? And technology has a characteristic that, given the characteristic of the curves, you're always either too early or too late. So typically, new technologies, you're too early, and eventually you're too late. So as an institutional investor, I run a venture capital that is dedicated to deeper technologies in Latin America. You have to be playing ball, right? So you have to be in that segment. We were very successful with Hadhrawi. Hadhrawi became a reference, a worldwide reference in terms of content and also the team. Now we have the opportunity to invest in anitya. And while approving those opportunities, we come across a question, right? Why now? And is this segment, this new technology, gonna make it? And a lot of people have questioned the technology recently. But as humans evolve into technology, we're absolutely now looking into keyboards, mouse, and all physical interactions that we have, mostly a flat screen, as something a little bit outdated that will need to go through a change. And this change will be more, let's say, easier to onboard our biology. And one way to onboard the biology, as Simone made the exercise, is to get us immersed into that technology. So I think that's an unavoidable path. However, as social human beings, we need ways to interact, and we need to digitalize objects. So the digitalization of objects in the industry is already happening. You interact when you're wearing a VR device. However, you cannot tangibilize ownership of everything that you see. So the beautiful thing about Web3 is that the protocols that are emerging, let's say Bitcoin and other protocols like Ethereum, Solana, and so on, they allow you to have ownership of technologies online, right? And some bits of technology, they will be visualized as objects. And eventually, objects that are in this untangible space will become tangible for us, and we will have ownership. So the stacking of all those technologies, as a bottom line, because I love the subject, so I could speak for hours, right, is that we're tangibilizing that in a very good device, in the ownership of artifacts that are online. And eventually, you mentioned the gaming industry, we're going to see gamers migrating into that new way to interact with fun and social, multiplayer, and also single-player technologies.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And I also think like this whole element of like the crypto element in gaming, I think it's so fascinating because I think there's a very, very big flaw on the education system. We live in a highly financialized world, and nobody learns about financial management in school. So everybody just becomes indebted, and a few privileged people understand how to operate with finances. And I think this whole gaming and crypto, it starts building like a legacy of ways for like younger kids to understand the financial system in a very like playful way, and it will finally, hopefully, create some more financially literate people, which will be amazing for so many things. So I think this is fascinating. There's one huge challenge that we had in this channel, in this panel here, that I would like to share with you. We have only 25 minutes, guys. We could talk so long here, and we would love to do that. So we need to keep it short. So we looking into the future and we're really looking to stay in touch and continuing this dialogue. We think there's so much potential for this relationship between Saudi Arabia and also Brazil and the world. And that industry is still in a very early stage, but as Derek said, when you suddenly look again, the train has left the platform, and you who are the builders and innovators here, let's stay in touch, let's be connected, and let's build that future together.
Absolutely.
Thanks everybody for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Because we are so efficient, we still have 2 minutes. Is there any question here out there from you?
Jeez.
You gotta scream.
You get 1 minute.
Okay.
So,
So basically his question is, he's been looking into Saudi Arabia and he seems that the government is not adapting crypto. So maybe Mo answer to that question.
well, that's exactly it's an interesting point. But we work on the Web3 technologies, blockchain at this stage. And regarding crypto, it's not ready at this stage. And I think my background is in the R&D side of Saudi Arabia, and especially in Web3 and blockchain technologies. Yeah.
Very good.
Loud.
So the session was originally about spatial computing, and I wanted to get your opinions on what are the impediments you see and versus the opportunities of proliferation of spatial computing.
So what are the challenges and opportunities on the creation of spatial computing? The growth of that. I mean, that's the point I started, but maybe somebody wants to take that answer.
I think we're social beings, and we interact so much with technology, and it will enable this multiplayer environment that will not be about only games, but also about corporate and everything interactions, much more in line with what we see in the real world.
Exactly.
I would also add to that we already live in a three-dimensional, if not like a multi-dimensional environment, but we got used to seeing projections of content into 2D media just because it was the way that technology counting from the radio to a book to eventually having screens and virtual content and now video games in three-dimensional environments that are real time. But that transition has meant that every time more we're capable of understanding content in a more complex environment with more information that mimics, if not transcends, what we're already experiencing. So I think there's a lot of things that are going to evolve with that content creation or that way of understanding 3D environments in ways that we're not used to. But of course, there's also a lot of potential problems that come with it, but that have more to do with how we use technology rather than the technology itself.
We would love to answer more questions, but we have to leave because we have time is over. Tempo esgotado here. So if you want to ask any questions, we're gonna go here. We're gonna be around out there, and please come to us and ask the questions directly. Thanks so much.
You guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.